Thanks, Sheriff.
State your name for the record.
My name is Darlene McPherson Poggles.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
I gotta flip back here so I can get some numbers. AYSO is a strong asset in this community, and it operates on funding and what would we say? Fundraising. This weekend, the 15U girls softball team went to Sulphur Springs for the state finals, and they won their pool play. And the umpires told me that it was over 101 degrees on the field. They started, and Friday afternoon when they started. Saturday morning, they dropped their first bracket game by 1 run. So they went to the losers bracket. They were down 12-2 in their game with time running out. There's a 1.5 hour time limit. They got up to bat and won that game 13-12. They came all the way back. They played 2 more games Saturday afternoon in that heat. So that was 3 games on Saturday with wins with those numbers like that. Then Sunday, I want to read you these numbers. They started at 8 a.m. against Atlanta, Texas, 16-5. Against Cleveland, Texas at 10 a.m., 18-5. Against Franklin County, Texas at 12:30, 13-3. Okay, they had to play Jefferson twice in order to win the championship because Jefferson had not lost. At 2:30, they played 7 innings and won 8-6. They gave them a short break. Our girls went out on the field and started dancing the wobble dance with their coaches. The parents blared the Anahuac Get Up song. Y'all know that song? If you go to any of our football games, you know that Get Up song where the players walk through. And they started blaring the Anahuac football Get Up song. They went out at 5 p.m. I'm sorry, I'm almost done. Against Jefferson County and won 15-2 to be the Ranger Softball 2022 state champions. Their coaches are Trent Hart, Ryan Cook, and Lindsay Hedges.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. McPherson. Okay, we have two citizen comments from this Cognata and her husband, 3.2. You want to wait to the agenda item?
Yes, please.
Okay. I want to move down to, we have quite a few people here on economic development and tourism. 5.1, discuss and consider approving the 2022 HOT hotel occupancy tax funding application as recommended by the HOT Fund Grant Review Committee, Old River Winfrey Founders Day, Texas Rice Festival, Texas Gator Fest, and the Johnny Apples Memorial Rodeo. Samantha.
I heard you. Yes, so we convened our committee that you guys approved at our last meeting of Commissioners Court. They evaluated applications as well as sales tax data from the comptroller's office. We actually went back 3 years to look and be able to evaluate kind of holistically the impact that these festivals make on sales tax data and hotel data over the last 3 years. We looked at the month preceding each event, of the event, and after the event, just to make sure that we encapsulated all of the data that was available and that we weren't missing any dollars. And the committee made the following recommendations. So I'll list the recommendations, and then I guess if you want to hear from the festivals,
Okay.
we can do that.
Yeah.
So we'll start with 2022, I'm sorry, I'm way in the past on that one. You guys have already had applications from several organizations, so these are just the remaining organizations for the rest of 2022. And then just an aside, we are now transitioning into our once-a-year application. So from now on, you'll be getting everybody all at once, and we will distribute the funds all at once. So starting now, so this is kind of a weird year. Just bear with us. So for 2022, the remaining festivals are Old River Winfrey Founder's Day requested $5,000, and that full amount was recommended by the committee. Texas Rice Festival requested $25,000, and that full amount was recommended by the committee. Texas Gator Fest requested $35,000. The amount of $25,000 was recommended by the committee. The Johnny Ackle Memorial Rodeo requested $4,500, and that full amount was requested by the committee.
Can you clarify what these funds are to be used for people
Sure.
who may not know?
Yeah, absolutely. So the hotel occupancy tax is under chapter 362 of state statute, and it outlines what the taxes collected through this fund can be utilized for. And there are a variety of different categories that Chambers County falls into. We fall into the general categories, but then because we border the Trinity River, because we border the Gulf, we have some additional capacity to spend these dollars. But the main thing for these festivals is, and the easiest thing for them to spend it on is advertising. Now, any dollars spent must have a tie back to hotel occupancy, to the promotion of hotel and tourism in Chambers County. That's why advertising tends to be the easiest. You could also spend it on wayfinding signs, the building of a convention center would be an eligible expense, but most of our events fall into advertising is generally where they go.
I had one citizen's comments from Tammy Walker.
Mhm.
Would you like to speak now, Tammy?
Okay, so she's actually on the next item.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, do we need to entertain a motion on this here?
We'll do both done together.
We'll just,
I'll make a motion to approve 5.1.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Tice. Other conversation? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. 5.2, discuss and consider approving 2023 hot hotel occupancy tax fund grant review committee, the Johnny Ackles Memorial Rodeo, March Fest, Texas Gator Fest, Texas Rice Festival, Old River Winfrey Founder's Day, and NerdCon. Samantha.
So again, we are now transitioning into a single application period. All applications from here on out will be due June 1st of every calendar year. The recommendation and review will happen in July. We'll come to you guys. You guys will make your decision. And again, just want to reiterate, you guys can agree with this or not. That's your prerogative. And that'll help Aaron and his team during budgeting as well, so that they know exactly how much money we're going to be spending during the next year. We won't take any applications after that application period at all. It'll be a more traditional grant program. And then all funds will be dispersed in January of the following year. That makes sense?
Say back then, are we going to look, I mean, we have all of these here that are drawing from this fund now. Are we going to cap that? Or are we just going to leave it where we just review each one individually?
My recommendation would be that unless there's some sort of unforeseen circumstance where we have a limit on what's coming in. I know we don't have a lot that comes in annually, but that we just kind of evaluate every year and fluctuate based on the dollar amount that's coming in. And we may be able to provide the full amount requested or not. We're going to continue to take a holistic view, look at sales tax dollars, look at what they're providing to the community, look at those hotel numbers, which are the most important thing per statute. And decide that way.
Okay.
But if you guys ever feel like you want to put a cap that we're going to provide this maximum amount, then we're absolutely on board with that.
Sam, last year we had some issues with some non-compliance. And in reading through this, I didn't see any mention of that, but it looked like you're recommending it. So I'm assuming that we've got that taken care of.
Yes, we have absolutely repaired those issues. We've worked really closely with all of the applicants this year. We had a training last December and then again in February, worked through the new process with them, and they've been wonderful partners this year. Throughout the entire process, they've been very responsive to requests for information, and so we have not had an issue that was rectified, and we've got a positive relationship moving forward. So now that is taken into account in one of these. If you look at the spreadsheet that was provided, it is mentioned one of the festivals, and I'll read those out to you guys now what the actual recommendations are. Some of them are not recommended the full amount, and I'll read the committee's reason for that recommendation. And then obviously if those festivals would like to speak to it, they're more than welcome to. Just a reminder to my people here, if you want to speak and did not do a public comment form, just make sure you do that and turn it in before you leave, okay? Okay. So Johnny Ackle Memorial Rodeo is requesting $4,500. The full amount was recommended. The committee felt that that was a reasonable request for a 2-day event, especially since all net profit goes to local high school scholarships. That's a new event that happened, I believe it was last year. It was a huge success. The team for that event is really great to work with so far. So we're hopeful that they'll see some continued success there. Marsh Fest, the amount recommended was $25,000. The amount requested was $25,000. The amount recommended was $15,000. And the reason for that was that they did not use all of their funds in 2021, and they had a small attendance in 2022. And Miss Tammy, I'll let her talk about that in a second. Texas Gator Fest requested $35,000. The amount recommended was $25,000. The committee was really impressed by their marketing plan, but there wasn't an increase in attendance or any data to justify a $10,000 increase for this year. Texas Rice Festival requested $25,000. That full amount was recommended. Old River Winfrey requested $7,000. The amount of $5,000 was recommended. There wasn't a noticeable increase in hotel impact, and so that's why they stuck with that $5,000. NerdCon had a request of $7,000, and the amount recommended was $7,000. That event is growing rapidly. It's very, very successful, and they do bring in a lot of people. So.
Okay.
Do you want to take comment?
Tammy, would you like to go ahead and speak on your festival now? State your name for the record.
Tammy Walker. Okay, I no longer work for the Chamber of Commerce. I work now here for the county, but due to some health issues for some of my board members, not there, one of the guys that normally speaks, his dad's in the hospital and is not doing very well. So I'm going to speak. The Marsh Fest has had its struggles, and one year we did not use all the money that was requested, but it was it was on me. But one of the things is that the application was very, very confusing, and Samantha and her group have rectified all of that. It was a very easy process. They did training. So I hate for the Marsh Fest to be punished for something that I put down a wrong date instead of, because we had till the end of the year to use it, and I had just put the end of June, and so it was a missed thing on mine. So, but I wanted to tell you all a little bit about Marsh Fest, and that it's a new event for Winnie. And in anything that's new, you have growing pains. And so one of the things that we've run into is one is the weather. In March, we've had freezing rain last year. We had Kevin Fowler come in, and I mean, nobody's gonna come and participate when it's 40 degrees and sleet and hail are coming. And so wanted to tell you one of the things that we did as a committee to try to fix that is that we split it up. Because as y'all know, in Chambers County, we have YPS during the month of April. So it kind of limits us to park use, kids participating, people participating. So one of the things that we did is our roping event is going to be March 31st through April 2nd. And that has been a huge success. I don't know if any of y'all have been able to come there, but it is super successful. We have over 1,000 teams in the weekend that come and participate in that. This year, we're looking to add a 10K, 5K, and a fun run, and there'll be a big party at the end of it. The person that's putting that on actually puts on the Houston Marathon. So there'll be digital things on there. There'll be shirts, there'll be prizes. And so we will be advertising in the Houston area for 2023. So that's going to be a big, huge event. And they told us that if we did a 10K, it would bring in more of the serious runners. Obviously, they'll need a place to stay. So we're really, really excited. Chasen Wisniewski is going to help put that on. And so would really, really like to have the funds to push that. But then we also have the Marsh Fest. So with the conflicts of YPS and everything, we have moved the actual Marsh Fest to May 18th through the 20th. And so in that, we did a Tejano Day, and it actually, the Tejano Day and this last year was huge, had a great turnout. One of the things that the feedback we got from them is that we would like it to have a whole evening. So they have now moved the Tejano Day to May 19th. Oh, okay. Sorry. Moved it to May 19th. So we're going to do it to a whole day. We're going to advertise. Most of our advertising went to the Tejano Day. So we're looking to do all that. We do have a commitment from Josh Ward and Kevin Fowler to come back. So Josh Ward is a big name. And so we really, really, really feel like we're going to have a pool to come to Marsh Fest. So please consider up in that. We're new. We're trying to get it all done. So thank y'all for that consideration.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Can you reach out to Lana? She had some questions about your dates on March Fest.
Yeah, because I put May 1st.
Yeah, she
I
texted
put
me.
March 31st through May 1st.
Okay,
So I thought I'd already fixed it, but I'll reach back out.
thank you. I don't have any other citizens comment. Would anybody else like to speak on any other festival? Sheriff or, oh, go ahead there, young lady.
We do too. Hi, my name is Liz Kemp and I represent Texas Gator Fest. As many of you know, we are in our 33rd year since inception of the festival, but this is our 30th festival, having had to have canceled 2008 during Hurricane Ike, 2020, obviously for COVID, and then also for 17 for Harvey, 2020 for COVID. Thank you. We are very excited about our new marketing plan, having developed some new tactics to bring in those from the Houston market, Beaumont market, Louisiana, out of state. We are now utilizing digital media, which geofences those people that identify as seeking concerts and live entertainment, that identify as sportsmen and outdoorsmen. And those commercials are targeted when they are listening to online digital platforms. So that is very exciting. We are actually marketing to the 30 to 45-year-old demographic, because those are the people that are going to bring money into our county. We are utilizing our social media plan very, very aggressively, and actually have some very exciting partners through Michelob Ultra, through Del Papa Distributing, Giglio Distributing. We are a legacy festival. We are not going anywhere. It is only going to get better. And I think that these tactics are going to definitely get us there. We appreciate the committee for our hot fund. And we hope that you will all attend our festival September 16th, 17th, and 18th, 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have anybody else want to speak on any of the festivals? No, Sheriff, did you have something to go? You did, okay. Samantha, do you have anything else?
That's it.
No.
Well, I have a couple other items, but that's it on this item.
Anybody on the court have any questions, comments, or anything?
The only thing is, when I was reading through the packet, it was kind of hard to follow, and it might have been because you got 1 and 2 together and you got the information twice for that.
Okay.
Yeah, just, it was confusing to me.
So for next year, I could present it better. I'll absolutely take that note.
Okay, I will entertain a motion on 5.2.
So,
Motion by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Hammond. So you all recommended what the committee recommended on the funding?
I think they did their due diligence, so without question, I'm good with it.
Okay, we have no other comments. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
You want to do the rest of mine, or you want me to wait?
We can go ahead and catch yours while you're there.
Okay.
We'll go to 5.3, discuss and consider approving proposal in the amount of $329,508 for the procurement of body worn and in-car cameras for the Chambers County Sheriff's Office, the utility paid for by ARPA funds. Samantha.
So one of the items that you guys approved in our action plan for the American Rescue Act funds was the provision of body worn and in-car cameras for the sheriff's office. They have done a great job, did all the legwork. I didn't have to do anything. And the chief presented this proposal that he'd like to move forward with through a company called Utility. This would provide everything that they need through June of 2027. So we're really giving them a long-term solution. He also mentioned, and it's just kind of worth noting that the legislature has kind of visited with the idea of potentially requiring through legislature body worn cameras for all law enforcement officers. And so this would really help them and give them a leg up. And it's paid for through the American Rescue Act. But as always, I like to bring all contracts to you guys for review and approval. And this is actually under budget too. I should mention that we budgeted $350,000. It's $329,508. Like I said, it's going to get them for several years. So good all around, in my opinion.
Make a motion by Commissioner Tice.
Second.
Mr. Combs. Anybody have any comments, Sheriff? Would you like to comment on this here?
No, I'll comment on what I had my other issue.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
Quick question, so we spent 247,000 this year. Earlier in the year for body worn. That's correct. Audio.
So that was starting this program. And this is kind of completing, getting the rest of the equipment for them, as well as the service agreements that would go with all of those.
And that's for 5 years. Service.
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at around 600,000 total. For that.
And again, the nice thing is that likely, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out of the next legislature that this is required. So we paid for more than half of it.
That also includes cloud storage, which is what's costing us thousands. So it's all included.
What's the lifespan on this stuff, Sheriff? I mean, we.
About most of them are about 5 years. The stuff that we've got now, they can no longer. I mean, we've been in the body camera program for almost 10 years now, and everything we've got is
Antiquated.
Well, it's antiquated. We can't replace it. It's expensive to rebuy it. So we've gone with this new vendor. And this is the one, if you recall, where if the officer was to get hurt or shot and goes down and we don't know where he's at, the system will tell us where he's at. I mean, it's got a lot of features. So it's a premium. It's the top of the line. It's the Cadillac of it's not the most expensive, but it's a Cadillac.
This one we had a presentation on.
That is,
a
it's
year
the one we had
ago.
the presentation on. Yes, sir. Yes.
And the good thing is we're paying for it all out of ARPA funds.
Right. No, I mean, I'm not a huge fan on these ARPA funds, but this is a great way to spend ARPA funds.
So, and our officers and their department deserve them the best so they can defend take care of our things. Anybody else have any comments?
Sheriff, you have enough cameras for all of your deputies and room to grow, or?
So it's a great question, Commissioner. The answer to that is yes, for everybody that's in the field. But there's a big push, and part of what Samantha was talking about is the moving them into the jail. Some of the justice projects and stuff are wanting the jailers to wear them, and we are not there yet. So that would be the only thing that we might have to look at one day, is eventually trying to outfit our jail. And we're actually what we're doing here is going to get that started. We are going to start outfitting the jail. The jail supervisors will have them, but it won't be every jailer on the floor.
Okay, I've heard some constables talk about, they may even want to look at some cameras, and I'm just thinking about any other equipment that we've got that we might be able to slide over to them, any of your other equipment, older equipment.
Well, I will tell you from a law enforcement perspective, I would hate to, it's one thing to give somebody a car with 100,000 miles on it, but as we pretty well use it out. I mean, when we're done with it, it really needs to.
That's all I need.
What would be much better is for them to join onto this program with us, and let's outfit them, and so that their stuff is being cloud stored. The difference between adding adding a few more cameras onto the cloud storage isn't going to change a thing. And then they'll have all those same options and it'll be tied back to dispatch and we can see who, what, when and where. And if they're serving papers and things go bad, we can help them.
It's a good idea.
So-
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions on anything? We already had a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed, motion carried. We'll go to 5.4, discuss and consider.
Nope, I'm 5.6.
That's all years,
No, I got 5.6 and 5.7.
5.6, let's go down to 5.6, discuss and consider selecting LJ Engineering to provide project-related engineering design service for upcoming CDBG-DR competition.
You know me and all my acronyms.
Right.
So there's a competition program through GLO, through the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program that will be directly tied back to Tropical Storm Imelda. It is a $1 million grant. And so I've been working with Road and Bridge Engineering to kind of, and Commissioner Gore to kind of identify a project. Last week, our review committee met to hire professional services. And the committee has recommended that we hire LJ Engineering to provide engineering and design services.
Anybody have any comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. No further comments, all in favor?
I had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's the project that was identified?
We have not yet done that. We're working on it. We need to have it done by like tomorrow.
Yeah, this has to be at LMI.
Yes, this is an LMI project. It is a disaster recovery, has to have a direct tie back to Tropical Storm Imelda. Realistically, we're probably going to do a road or a drainage type project.
And I spoke to Samantha and I've had conversation with TechDOT as well as Trinity Bay. And everybody's always got projects they want you to do for them. So let me just clarify. We're not looking for a project to do for somebody. We would love to partner with another entity that would put money in so we can do a bigger project. That's what we would like to do if we partner with anybody. So I want them to understand that we would like something coming back to us. So, but we are looking at projects on the east side of the LMI project.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anything else, Commissioner? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to 5.7, discuss and consider selecting Public Management Incorporated to provide project-related grant administration services for upcoming CDBG-DR competition. Samantha.
Same exact program for grant admin services. We recommend Public Management.
Okay,
So moved.
motion by Commissioner Hammond. Second by Commissioner Combs. No further comments. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Y'all
you,
have a good
Samantha.
day.
Thank you, Samantha.
Okay. We're ready for HOK?
No, we're being here.
Oh, BJ's here? We'll go ahead and do BJ then. Hold on.
I think HOK wasn't gonna be available.
Okay, hey, BJ,
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
we would go to 5.4, discuss and consider NRG Cedar Bio 5 LLC project Moonshot tax abatement application. BJ.
Thank you. This is an application that formally presents Project Moonshot to the court for consideration for tax abatement. If you recall, the court has already approved a letter of intent to support the project. This is a formal application to present it for the Commissioners Court for review and approval today.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner
I
Tice.
do have a comment.
Okay,
When I was reading through the minutes, for when it's was submitted before, it said that the application was approved. So there's some confusion whenever we bring letters in for applications for acceptance and letters of intent. But the meeting, if you read the minutes, they say the application was approved at the meeting that the judge and I were not at. Just,
Was it the letter of intent was approved?
I understand, but the minutes says the application was
we probably need to.
We just need to be clear whenever we're approving these things, because a lot of times when they come in, first one, we accept the application and then later we approve the application.
Agree.
And a lot of times we get it confused.
Okay. And I got a motion and a second, if there are no further comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We go to 5.5, discuss and consider NRG Cedar Bio 5 LLC project Moonshot reinvestment zone application. BJ?
Thank you, Commissioners. This is simply a request to move forward with the administrative process to establish a reinvestment zone for further consideration for the tax abatement agreement. The public hearing is requested to be held on the 26th of July.
For approval.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions or comments?
I would say that Lee College, I see, has voted to move forward with a letter of intent.
That's correct. They're working and this administrative portion of the process that's being led by the county provides them with a framework to move forward because they have no infrastructure for consideration of chapter 3 as well. And so they're gonna have to go through policy and the like. So the county is the primary driver of this for approving the application and then establishing reinvestment zone.
And this is a project that we very much need here. If it don't go here, chances are it's gonna go to Louisiana. And we need the power on our grids.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily in favor of a 10-year 100%, but I think given our situation with our power supply.
Well, we're not gonna get it if we don't have it, but we need the power on our grids. We've got a lot of stuff in demand. Y'all remember what happened during the winter a couple of years ago?
When you look at what's going on now, I mean, asking everybody to conserve power now.
Yeah.
So
We need this project. It will help everybody.
Any other further comments, anything?
No.
No. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
BJ.
Good.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, we will do it. We will go to 3.2. Discuss or consider approving Chambers County right of way and adjoining drainage facility permit 3.2. Bobby?
This has come about due to the Cognatas, they're putting in subdivision, they want to do some work on Lawrence Road. And so we had our outside attorney Nathan come up with a permit that could be followed when this work is being done on any road. This will be a permit we'll use henceforth. It will not apply to like people like Trinity Bay, Verizon or the power company, although I'd like for it to apply to them because sometimes they make a bigger mess than private citizens do. But it's mainly for the private entities doing work on our property, on our right of ways.
Okay. Mr. Rich Cognato, would you like to speak to the agenda item 3.2? Thank you. Name for the record. You have 3
Yes, Joe, thank you very much for allowing us to make some comments here. We appreciate it. My name is Louis Cognata, and this is my beautiful wife over here, Mona. And we have a property on Lawrence Road. It's about 132 acres. And it's ranch, but it's going to be a subdivision. We've been working on it to be a subdivision for several years now. And this came up when we needed to get onto Lawrence Road in order to deepen the ditch, to clean it out. And that's what I think started this here. And so what we needed was to get that ditch deeper so that when we're building our subdivision, our ditches that we put in will not go down into a dirt wall at the Lawrence ditch. And so that's what we asked was if we could go ahead and get permission to start construction on that Lawrence ditch. Now, we had previously submitted construction drawings that are certified by a civil engineer according to county standards. And we felt they were approved. And we submitted them in 2018. So anyway, I'm looking at this permit, request for permit. And at the title, it says permit for use, and I emphasize the word use, of the Chambers County right of way and adjoining drainage facilities. Well, we are a corporation but we're also individuals that live on that property. So we're homeowners, and at the same time, we're a corporation. And we drive over Culvert and onto the Lawrence Road. Well, that's a use that we have, is to drive onto the road. And another use is that we mow the ditch area. We get onto Lawrence Road and we mow that ditch. But before we mow the ditch, we clean up all the trash, because that's the road that goes to the dump. And so we pick up the trash, and that's a use that we're making. And we've installed bulkheads on culverts, and that's a use. And we also, of course, our water drains into those ditches, that ditch there, and that's a use. So we're a user in a corporate way, as a subdivision development, from subdivision development way, and also we're personal users. So it says here that this is for users, and I have a problem with that word user.
I'll give you another minute to wrap up.
In 1 minute more? Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so anyway, it's a concern that we as users would have to conform to this document. The document requires 4 different types of insurance. There's commercial general liability, $2 million, and professional liability, $2 million, and automobile liability, $2 million, and workers' compensation or disability insurance. Now, the workers' compensation and disability insurance required, it is, according to the state of Texas, not required. State of Texas does not require workers' compensation insurance. State of Texas does not require disability insurance. And so I'm thinking that this is really overdone with 4 different types of insurance. And they do not go along with the state of Texas guidance for the dollar amounts. This is going to prohibit us as a subdivision developer from hiring the smaller contractors. And so it's going to extend our schedule, and it's going to extend our costs dramatically. And so we're asking that we take a look at this and maybe consider changing that word use. That would help us a lot. And also that we look at do we really need to have 4 different types of insurance that's going to cost a fortune and run our small contractors off? I think that my principles here not only apply to us, but they also apply to other developers and other people, in Chambers County on county roads. So what I'm asking for the moment is that you all consider postponing the voting on this today, so that maybe I can attempt to talk with the authors of this and explain to them my concerns. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I think like I say, Nathan prepared this for us, and he's looking out, for our exposure that we have, someone working on our right of way. And this is kind of standard what we normally do if we hire a contractor. I don't know whether Mike can speak to it or not, but they would hire a contractor and would build a jail, what that contractor's got to furnish, but this is just, I think, standard. So that's where we are.
Do want to table it and talk about it a little bit, bring it back next court. Yeah, word use, I mean, I mow the grass on it all the time. I don't think plows or not, but everybody else does too, so.
Okay.
I
Commissioner,
think this has a different application.
I know, I just want to make sure we're good.
Right. Yeah.
okay, so we're going to table 3.2.
Yes,
So I mean, if y'all want to get together and work with the Cognatus and then
I do.
Richard Combs and Bob, if y'all want to work with them to see if y'all can come to an agreement on whatever, or whatever we can do to get this agreement where it's applicable to everybody. So we're gonna table 3.2. We will go on to. We're gonna go to 1.4. I think they're waiting for us to discuss, consider update on HOK for the Justice Center and temporary women's dormitory project. We'll go to 1.4. Who is? Are they online?
No, you don't know much about the two.
This is Jay Lodgley with HOK.
Okay. Jay, we're at your agenda item, discuss consider update on HOK for the Justice Center and temporary women's dormitory project.
Yes, sir. We are slated to upload drawings for the women's dormitory project next week, next Thursday, July 21st, for permit, and delivering hard copies the following Friday, July 22nd. And we've been in discussions about pre-bidding and bid dates. And I think we've got those slated for July 29th for the pre-bid conference, and then bids would be due, I believe, August 12th, which was last discussed, but we have not finalized that yet, but that's where we're headed. And then for the Justice Center, we are finalizing a schematic design package for the overall Justice Center complex that has all the disciplines in it, drawings, program layouts, narratives. That should be delivered August 5th.
Okay. Sure, if you have any comments, anything on any of that. No, we're good. Okay, Court, you all have any questions, comments for Jay?
Well, Jay, the Women's Center, I know we're a couple months behind on that, so these dates are gonna hold solid, this July 21st and July 29th.
Yes, sir. Yes, we had a change in some of the programming that pushed the women's storm back. We had to revise the drawings for some of the changes.
Okay.
How long were you anticipating the project to take? Yes.
For the women's dorm,
Yes.
we would go to permit. That permit review process would take roughly 2 to 3 weeks. In the meantime, we'll be revising per any bid questions. And then when the contractor gets selected and construction begins, we are estimating 6 to 8 months, hopefully. There's a lot of other things in flux with procurement of materials, especially steel. So I have to take that into consideration, but our goal is to be 6 to 8 months.
And with inflation that's happening on construction, I wouldn't be surprised if the bids aren't higher than we were expected.
You can expect that.
Okay.
The Justice Center, so we're gonna be ready for review by the committee by August the 5th.
Yes, sir. We will have our schematic design package delivered August 5.
Okay, so after we make changes to that, where does that put us at?
We'll begin design development phase, and that will run us through, as I'm pulling up the schedule, I believe that will run us through December of this year. Let me pull that up.
If you don't mind, can you send these dates to the court so I can have them? I mean, I'm writing all of them down, but I want to make sure they go with the right deal. Can you send this?
Yes, sir.
On the dates?
Yes, sir.
And I believe y'all were gonna try to schedule some face-to-face meetings next week.
Yes, sir. We'll be in town to finalize the schematic design, develop the schematic design programming next week. The 20, wrong calendar. Actually, not next week, the following week, the 27th and the 28th of July.
Okay, I think, Mr. Bobby Hall, has a comment or something.
Jay, what about your permit and Berg Oliver? Has that been presented, that wasn't presented today, is it? It's presented today?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Getting Berg Oliver to work on a core permit, nationwide permit, is that on the agenda today, or are we going to be next court?
I will have to get with Walter P. Moore on that.
Okay,
Bobby, is that your stormwater discharge permit you're talking about?
no, so that's a nationwide permit,
Or,
the jail site.
I didn't realize it took a nationwide for years.
That's what they say it's gonna take. I mean, I'm not sure how many months that is. They've estimated some stuff and I don't know, you're gonna deal with the core, you never know.
I believe they were working within our time frame of schedule for deliverables. But based off of what I saw in that correspondence, it looked to be a little tight. So
where we at on property?
The property, I think we're good, except for I think those that have to be condemned, I believe.
We're at on the roadway.
The road, that's city question.
Okay.
So this December date is gonna be the earliest that we could start going out for bids and getting numbers put together.
I would say that it would give you a reasonable takeoff point for the Justice Center. But it would be fine tuned after that. We'd be in construction document phase by that time.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions or comments on 1.4? Okay, I think it's just I think that's just an FYI update. So we don't have anything else. Unless, I don't think Jay has anything to do with 1.3. I think we're good with you, Jay, unless you have something else. Okay. So we'll move on to 1.3, discuss and consider the adoption of guidelines for the Chambers County Public-Private Partnership Program P3 for the evaluation, disposition of proposal for the performance of qualifying projects through a public-private partnership that have been solidified by Chambers County, Texas. Who is taking that?
Can we let Jay go? Jay, you still there?
I'm still here, sir.
Okay, I think that's all we had, wasn't
That's all we had for Jay.
it? I would appreciate your time, Jay.
I
Thanks, sir.
appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Who's taking that? Okay, all right, we can come back to it then. We'll go on that.
Ryan, here's the one.
Okay, we'll go to 1.2, discuss and consider renewal of declaration related to the Texas-Mexico border crisis. Sure.
So that is the declaration that the governor has established that opens up the Operation Lone Star grants. But to qualify for the Lone Star grants, your commissioner's court has to endorse the Mexican border crisis. And so on the first round, we got $335,000 from the governor's office. Most of it was all put into overtime projects for the Bay, for waterborne enforcement, and then Interstate 10. And then we also bought license plate readers and a lot of criminal activity devices that we've used. It's been very beneficial to us. So it's been a very good program for us and a very good program for the counties that have stayed with the agreement. And I will tell you that politically, nothing has improved on the border. Some things have slowed down, but after this last Supreme Court ruling, if the president changes his mind and withdraws everything that Trump had put in place, we're going to see not just thousands, but hundreds of thousands that will be hitting the Mexican border. So I strongly urge you to stay in tune with the governor's crisis. So.
Okay. You want us to read this declaration?
It's not necessary to read it. And I will tell you that they've opened up, we just got notification for the second round of border grants. So we will be applying and staying involved in the border grant.
I know this is adding to y'all's already overwhelming what y'all take care of within this county. We appreciate everything you do.
Second that.
It's just a shame that our administration puts y'all through this here.
Everybody else in the state.
I totally agree with that. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Made by the court and seconded by the court.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Sheriff, for everything y'all do out there.
So there's someone from bigger staff on for 1.3. So that. Yes.
Okay, we'll go back to 1.3, discuss and consider adopting guidelines for the Chambers County Public-Private Partnership Program, P3, for the evaluation and disposition of proposal for the performance of qualifying project public-private partnership that have been solidified by Chambers County, Texas. Solicited.
Yes.
I had to move back and forth with my glasses. Okay, somebody's
He's having an issue with the microphone, I believe it's on a phone. And I don't know if he's given the phone rights to Zoom. So let's try to unmute, can't unmute yourself right now.
okay. Well, can you keep working on that and then we can come back to it. But we'll go down to financials 2.1. Discuss and consider request from East Chambers ISD for permanent school funds withdrawal and the amount of $103,907.85.
Move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Hammond. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 2.2, discuss and consider 2021 Justice of the Peace Precinct 5 audit report. Mr. Aaron.
Hey, Commissioner. Yeah, so this is just the JP5 audit that Mr. Gary did recently. Everything came out really good. Just some administrative stuff, but overall it's a pretty clean audit. So
Good. Great work.
You need to motion.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tyre, second by Commissioner Hammond. No questions or comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 2.3, discuss and consider approving the Chambers County investment policy for the year ending December 31st, 2022. Mr. Aaron.
yeah, this is just the investment policy that gets approved every year. Nothing different from last year.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Hammond. No further questions or comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Where you still there? 3.3, I think.
Okay, we'll go to Road and Bridge.
3.3.
3.3, we'll go to 3.3. Discuss, consider update for Kilgore Parkway. Corey?
Good morning, commissioners. Y'all see me, hear me? All right. So anyway, we wanted to give an update on Kilgore. It's moving as has been discussed this morning. Material issues are difficult as we continue to move forward. The pipe has been slower. The box culverts have been slower to become manufactured, and cement supply essentially, I think, is the leading cause to that. They currently have about 800 feet of the, I don't have the total amount, but a much larger amount that's available. So they want to wait until that becomes essentially manufactured and delivered to the job before they start. They're anticipating sometime in August before that occurs, which is about, well, considerably. We were hoping to do it by mid-June, and the cement issue has just become a major concern as they move forward. It's affecting all forms of concrete, cement treated cement treated sand around pipe, just lots of issues. So anyway, they are working on driveways. They're doing lime treat of subgrade, getting ready for the concrete paving. We'll be moving forward with doing some concrete paving in the near future. Right now, we're about 5% complete on the work, including mobilization. So we're going along. They're finding other things to keeping them working, and they're trying to get me an update to ensure that we need to look at the long-term schedule to ensure that we're going to be completed on time. We do have one property owner along that drainage easement, Daryl Bean, that he will be getting us 3 estimates for some permanent fence to be installed back along that easement where the drainage boxes are going to be installed. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to bring that back. He's agreed that he would take the lead on having that installed. It's going to be a 4-strand fence, which is essentially what we had to take down to get in there and do that work. That way, at the end of it, it will be done to his satisfaction. We can just pay the low on that estimate or whatever y'all decide. But hopefully we'll get those estimates, get that back to you in the near future, and be able to move forward. Any questions?
Where did you get the schedule? That's what you were alluding to a while ago.
I have not. They're still working on it. And I think, they're trying to scratch their head and determine how the material issues, they're having to rephase to keep working, and they're trying to figure out exactly how that's going to affect the bottom line. But hope to get that in the next few days. The other element, they're wanting to present to the court to do some slip form paving. They have the paving machine. They assure they can give us a really good price. I'm not sure if that's something that y'all would want to consider or not, but I told them to sharpen their pencil and present it. Would at least take a look at it. So.
And Corey, I just want to echo what you're saying about material shortage. I don't know if people realize it, but it's going to affect us drastically. A lot of our concrete companies around here, their supply has been cut anywhere from 40 to 60%. They're rationing the material to produce concrete. It seems like we've had these materials for years. I don't know where the shortage is coming from now. I'm not even going to allude to what I think it may be, but there's severe supply chain issues within this country. So it's going to affect us when we're building roads, putting in culverts. Everything that we're doing is slowing down progress, slower than what already is to perform what we need to do for our county residents. So just bear that in mind when we're trying to work on projects.
Yeah, I don't know. I suspect, as Sheriff Hawthorne has mentioned, there's larger, deeper issues associated with many of these. And anyway, hopefully those change in the future. Yes, and they're being rationed to about 1,000 yards of material a day. So it's pretty slow compared for a whole company that size. So.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Corey? No. Okay, Corey, did you have anything else, Corey, or that was it?
Did not. Working on some other issues on 1409 and trying to work through with TxDOT. I do know that I mentioned the street over in Anahuac. I think there's
how are we coming on that?
So TxDOT has they're a little more hesitant than what I had hoped on being able to address that. I have had a discussion with the DE, and I think it's in the assistant DE Anna's hands at this point, but Austin's a little bit more reserved. I had a conversation with the previous DE, Tucker Ferguson, about that. He kind of echoed that situation. So hopefully, that being essentially a roadway that ends just south of the courthouse a little ways, will be something that they will consider in that. But anyway, we need to get an answer pretty quickly. So
Is there anything we can do politically with anybody? I mean, just let us know.
yes, sir.
Anybody else have anything for Corey?
Thank you, Corey.
Okay, thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
All right. Thank y'all, guys.
Have a good.
Y'all have a
good
great
day.
rest of the week. All right.
Sure. Okay, that 3.3 was just a FYI. We'll go back to 3.1, discuss and consider stating a public hearing on July 26, 2022 at 10 a.m. for the purpose of reviewing the Chambers County subdivision infrastructure and drainage criteria manual.
Revising,
Revising.
not reviewing.
I've got an eye appointment.
Actually, it says revisiting. Don't say revising.
No, it's.
Yeah, it does. I didn't get my eyes fixed too.
Well, you see, you
Revising.
bobbing like when
Hey,
you.
Look, I'm old and I can read that. What this amounts
Yeah,
to,
but you wrote it.
no, I didn't. Natalie wrote it. I've been we've been working on these for about 3 or 3 months, and I think 4 months. And I think we're to that point where we can go ahead and, everybody wants to, every time you turn around, somebody, let's add this, let's shut her off. We're to that point where we can turn this off. And I think we'll have a good manuals when we get through. If we'll set a public hearing for July the 26th at 10 a.m. and then we'll, for the purpose of approving these revisions.
Soon as, and then I'll discuss this with the judge and IT, and as soon as we get this done, we need to make sure to get it to IT so they can put it on, change everything, put it on the internet.
Okay,
So
yeah, well,
everything can be updated.
I think Zach's got it pretty well redlined, and he can give that to the IT and they can put it out there so people can look at it again.
Okay.
And they can say yes or no at the end of, they comment on it in the 26th, but let's get this done.
Okay.
Can you send that out to the court?
Yes, sir.
You need to send it out earlier than the normal packet.
That's right. No, we'll send it out. If y'all approve this public hearing, we'll try to get it out this week.
So move.
Second by Commissioner Fires. No further discussion, all in favor? None opposed, motion carries. Okay. We're at on 1.3. Okay, all right, we're gonna go back to 1.3, discuss and consider adopting the guidelines for Chambers County Public-Private Partnership P3 for the evaluation and disposition proposal for the performance of qualifying projects to the public-private partnership that have been solicited by the Chambers County, Texas. Who we have here?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. This is Gregory Miller with Bickerstaff. Thank you for hosting me today. If it's all right with y'all, I'll go ahead and give kind of a high-level overview of the purpose of these guidelines, and then from there we can just go over any specific questions that you might have. In essence, what these guidelines are is a set of considerations or parameters to take into consideration whenever you're going to be evaluating a P3 project. And these guidelines come from chapter 2267 of the Government Code. And the purpose for adopting these guidelines is to confer on the county some of the additional flexibilities in terms of contracting that I believe the county will find beneficial whenever it's entering into a P3 or evaluating a P3 project. And I think from our perspective, probably the most significant parameter relates to the use of real property. As y'all know, counties have a pretty narrow range of what you can do with your property. and how you can develop it and how you can enter into agreements with developers and so forth. Adopting these guidelines lets the county take the broadest possible use and enter into all kinds of arrangements with developers. So in essence, to have that kind of flexibility, Chapter 2267 requires you to adopt these guidelines. And so that by adopting these guidelines, you're giving yourself that flexibility. I think the other thing I'd point out is in drafting these, we basically just tracked what the statutory requirements are. And I point that out just so y'all know that we intentionally left these items as general as possible. And the purpose of that is so y'all can retain absolute flexibility when you're looking at a project. And I think that the main thrust of these guidelines is not to limit y'all. It's just to say that whenever you're reviewing a project, you're going to check off certain boxes in terms of verifying the fit and the appropriateness of the project for the county. So I don't see this as limiting y'all. It just sets out some guidelines for considerations. But the benefit, of course, is that it gives you more flexibility with regards to land use and some other contracting features. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I'll go ahead and be quiet now and see if y'all have any questions for me.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, in general, I do. Where are we? I mean, we've been going out for RFQs. We went out, then we went back again, and these guidelines I know are for proposals and not RFQs, but I'm just would like to get an update or an understanding of where we are in the process, what we've done, what we got to do. Yeah, certainly. I was brought on board a few weeks ago, and I was working with Mr. Simpson and the other members of the committee and HOK, and we've come up with what I feel is a pretty solid framework for an RFQ, and we have, everything's drafted for that except for the exhibits, which would be, the design specifications or general specifications or design concept that we have. So once that is completed, we can just go ahead and plug that into the RFQ. And I think the way we're going to do that is just have a link rather than physically attach it. We're just going to have a link to a website that will have those design ideas. And then there's just some other blanks in there we need to fill out in terms of some technical ideas about, who will be the county contact and who folks can reach to discuss the project and timelines and so forth. And I believe the folks with y'all's offices are working through that. This is going to be a 2-stage process, the way that we have it drafted right now. So the first round and the way that this RFQ is drafted to date is to say, hey, we have these projects, we have some high-level design concepts, and you can find them here. Respond with your interest and some basics about qualifications, and then from there narrow it down to no more than 5 respondents, and then get more into the final stage of the RFQ. And from there, you select who you want to and go ahead and start finalizing contracts and so forth. I think the benefit of this is that the initial stage lets you select firms that have an expertise in doing the types of facilities you're looking for, rather than just getting every contractor and developer out there. So long story short, we're looking at a 2-stage process. We have the format of and the substantial language of the RFQ drafted. We're just waiting to plug in some of the details. So that's basically it.
So Gregory, can I add to that maybe a little bit? And kind of, we did go out for RFQ at first. We didn't get a whole lot of response. We went back and kind of figured out there's some things that we probably needed to clean up. We actually took HOK out of the situation. So now we're looking for an RFQ for a team of people. We've actually hired HOK ourselves. They're not going to be part of the package now. And I know that's kind of hard to understand, but at first, they were gonna be part of the team. So they would have had to gone to work for whoever was presenting, and we didn't get a whole lot of response. Now we've taken them out of the situation. This way, we're going by the state rules. We've cleaned up some things, and we think we're gonna get a lot more response and a lot more, say, bidders for the process.
Okay, I'll make it clear. I like what I read here. You know, I like having this in place. And it looks like, you know, the comment was made and reading this, you know, it's mandatory. But this says that this will be in place and these rules are when we passed on when we go out for RFQs. But it's also my understanding, we've already gone out 2 times.
No,
We only went out when we're not going out the second time yet.
we have not.
No,
Okay.
just once.
Where does this put us on the timeline? By the time we go out for the RFQs, get this here firm in place, and then get everything set with them, and then I guess they go out for bids. Once we get everything set for a contractor to build the facility. I mean,
Well,
before we
the
look at it.
process is a little complicated
Yeah.
in that HOK needs to provide us some drawings. So when we do get to where we need to be with another team that includes a contractor, financing and all of that, they have something to look at to give us a price. So we're looking at HOK to bring on the drawings. We're in the meantime looking for a team of people that will actually build the facilities for us. So we might be a little bit behind because of some of the errors that we made to begin with. But I think, you know, all in all, we're gonna come out pretty good in the whole situation. I think we're gonna come out a lot better than we were before we.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all. Are we looking at 2 months, 3 months?
I would say that HOK sat there and told us that they're not gonna have drawings until December.
Yeah.
So December, I would say the first quarter of next year, sometime to put everything together. You know, HOK is coming to me and asking me, hey, you know, what kind of facility, what kind of equipment do you want to use and this and that? Well, you got to understand that the team that we're going to put together has got to have something to say about all the equipment they're going to put in this building, because those people are going to maintain it for 30 years or whatever time we tell them that they have to maintain it for. And then at the end of that 30 years, we got a solid building that we're going to take over. So I know there's some things that are a little bit complicated that some people don't understand, but it's all, I think, coming together really well.
Good. No, we want to make sure everything's correct.
Yeah, but that's problematic too, because that forces us into a P3. We don't have the option. We're going to miss the timeline for a November election to put it on the ballot. So now our backs are against the wall even more, and we are truly dependent on getting good bids that we can live with a P3.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of y'all's call, how you want to, but the
I mean,
delivery.
that's a situation that I personally didn't want to get into, and I don't think anybody on this court wanted to get into it.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments for?
No, I just kind of understand what Billy's saying, but also I think with this process here that we have a lot of control, and we do ultimately make the final decision of which way we go and how this gets accomplished. So.
And I agree with you, Commissioner. I mean, personally, I think this is going to be a good way. I just don't like not having a choice.
Okay. Okay. Ray, do you have anything else?
No, sir, except for thank you for your time.
Thank
And if y'all have any questions, just get in touch.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Last name.
Miller.
Miller?
Miller.
Oh, that's easy.
Okay, so that was just a FYI on that. No, we're supposed to
No,
look
it's
adopt the guideline.
guideline.
I got so much scribbled down here. I just, okay. I'll
So
entertain a
moved.
motion. Motion
moved.
by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. There's no more questions or comments. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. So I think we're done with the first page. Oh, yes, right there. I've got too much scribbling on my paper here. Thank you for letting me know that. 1.1, discuss and consider resolution in support of the Gulf Coast Protection District, GCPD. All righty. All right. Who wants to read the resolution?
I'll believe Commissioner Combs does.
Yeah, Commissioner Combs? I will read it. The Gulf Coast Protection District is the non-federal sponsor for the Coastal Texas Project. And in particular, what the Corps of Engineers refers to is S to G, that's the Sabine to Galveston. And a lot of people know this as the Ike Dike Project. And anyhow, the study was completed in June of 21. Also in June of 21, the Texas legislature created the Gulf Coast Protection District. And it's made up of 5 counties. It's made up of Jefferson County, Orange County, Chambers County, Galveston County, and Harris County. And anyhow, I will read the resolution. Each of the 5 counties has representatives on the board. I'm representing Chambers County, and then the governor appointed 6 board members. So it's a total board made up of 11. And by the way, Chambers County is hosting the meeting tomorrow at the Houston Raceway Park. The sheriff was kind enough to arrange some of his friends in Harris County. We're going to have a boat tour. We're going to go out into the bay with the board and some of our guests when we get, finished with our meeting tomorrow. Thank you very much, Sheriff. Anyhow, I'll read the resolution. Whereas the Coastal Texas study was recently submitted to the Chief of the Army Corps of Engineers, which lays out the groundwork for implementation needed coastal protection. And whereas in June of 2021, the Texas legislature created the Gulf Coast Protection District, GCPD, to protect the Texas coast from deadly storm surge. And whereas the Upper Texas Gulf Coast contains a significant infrastructure which is vital to the nation's security and economic well-being, the Gulf Coast region produces 60% of the nation's aviation fuel, 42% of the nation's specialty chemical feedstock, and 80% of the nation's military grade fuel. These statistics are from the Governor Abbott press release naming directors to the Gulf Coast Protection District. And whereas increased hurricane activity presents an existential threat to one of the most important industry centers in the nation. Be it resolved, Chambers County Commissioners Court supports the work of the Gulf Coast Protection District, advancing the goal of protecting coastal Texas, including Chambers County and the Houston Ship Channel, from increasing threat of catastrophic storm surge. And be it further resolved, Chambers County Commissioners Court acknowledges that the county must play a leading role with the Gulf Coast Protection District to build political and financial support at the local, state, and national level to implement the Coastal Texas Study. And be it further resolved that Chambers County Commissioners Court commends the Gulf Coast Protection District for exploring innovative ways to finance the local portion of the Coastal Texas Study, because Chambers County and the Gulf Coast region cannot be expected to bear the full cost of protecting some of the nation's most vital industrial infrastructure. And be it further resolved, Chambers County Commissioners Court calls on its partners across the state and in private sector to come together in working
to safeguard Texas from deadly storm surge, and be it further resolved, Chambers County Commissioners Court directs county departments to work with and support Gulf Coast Protection District in advocating the needed coastal protection for Chambers County and all of the upper Texas Gulf Coast. Move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tynes. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, bring to page 1. We'll move on to page 2. We'll go to communications and technology 11.1. Discussing consider allowing the trade-in of a 2019 F-350 for a 2020 F-150 from BJ Ford.
Morning, Commissioners. Oh, I freaking get on that. Anyway, I'll just recap what I put on the agenda. As you guys know, we currently have a Ford F-350 dually diesel, and with the fuel prices right now, it's killing our department, our fuel budget. With the assistance of purchasing, specifically Carolyn, she's helped us greatly on locating with BJ Ford, who we originally purchased the F-350 through in 2019. They have a demo F-150 four-door truck that John's went and looked at. It's in excellent condition. He test drove it. Everything looks good. While he was at the Ford dealership, they appraised the F-350. They're willing to trade the truck in addition to $11,000, just short of a $12,000 check back to Chambers County for the trade-in. I guess it's a high demand right now for the heavy duty series work type trucks. So I'm just seeking approval if you guys would allow us to take that offer.
Yep. You have any questions or comments for?
Yeah, you asked to be able to use that $11,000 in your letter here, but it's not on the agenda.
It has to go back into the general fund.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll move for approval.
Second.
By Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. Any further questions? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Yep.
Quentin.
Yep.
All right, we'll move down to 12.1, discuss and consider approval of request to use 2020 allocated budget funds for the replacement of cart paths and covered parking for equipment at the Anahuac Golf Course originally allocated for drainage. James, is somebody here? Nope.
Good morning.
James. Hey, James. Up your agenda item.
Yes, so I want to take the money budgeted for this year to do the drainage on the greens. We went out for bids, nobody responded. And one response we did get back was that it was too late in the year. So we want to take those funds there and move them toward other projects that I've had scheduled to do next year.
We'll be able to complete their projects within this year.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments for James?
Not at all.
Entertained motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, seconded by Commissioner Tynes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 12.2, discuss and consider approving a request to go out for sealed bids for the replacement cart pass.
Same thing. Isn't it? Motion.
Did you have a footage?
We got a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. Commissioner.
You had a certain footage you was gonna try to replace it.
1,600 feet.
1,600 linear feet.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for James? No? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 12.3, discuss and consider approving payment to Texas Tough Services to build covered parking for equipment at the golf course in the amount of $43,704.73. James?
Yes, I got a quote for that, and George was happy with it, so he said we didn't need to go off any other quotes.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tynes, seconded by Commissioner Hammond. No further questions or comments, all in favor? Any opposed, motion carries. I think that's all we have for you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, Jay.
We'll move on to health and welfare. 14.1, discuss and consider approving independent contractor agreement for healthcare workers. Is Mary Beth here or who's covering that?
It's not here. I mean, it's just a basic, contract agreement. I think it was approved previously, like maybe 2 years ago. Same one. I reviewed it. No problem.
Yeah.
I reviewed it. And
Okay.
reviewed it.
So you're good with it?
Yes.
Okay, entertain a motion? So moved. By Commissioner Collins, second by
Second.
Mr. Hammond. Any questions or comments? No, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We're down to the consent agenda. We'll start with Commissioner Collins.
Well, I know I had some questions, but I left my marks up agenda at home, so. No, actually, that's pretty good. I'm good.
Mr. Hammond.
Not seeing it. I thought there was something about, additional pay for the nurses.
Yeah.
That was, I think, in that contract.
I didn't see it. in the contract.
Well, there's a payroll,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
payroll change for them, increasing it like $3 an hour
Right, for the one, yes.
for the ones that work the jail.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to pull payroll changes then.
I'm the same way.
I'll take job descriptions with it, just in case.
Right.
I don't think there's anything on job description.
There's no one thinking that road
Bridges on there, yeah.
Okay, so we'll entertain a motion to approve everything that job description and payroll changes on the consent agenda.
So moved based upon those exemptions.
Passing Hammond. All in favor?
Aye.
And you're fine.
Man, you got it together.
Okay, so we will recess out of the regular session with the court and go to executive session at 11:05 a.m. Get my deal down here so I can read executive session. Items executive session may include but not limited to applicable section under Texas Government Code Personnel, section 551.074, consultation with attorney, section 551.071, deliberation regarding real property, section 551.072, deliberation regarding security devices or security audit. So we will adjourn from regular session of Commissioners Court and go into executive session at 11:06 a.m. Ready? Okay. We're adjourned, back in regular session of Commissioner Court at 12:07. We had took 5 and 6 job descriptions and payroll to executive. We have, what motions we have out of that?
Move that we approve items 19.5, 19.6, with the exception of the facility differential pay for the nurses at the jail.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond. Second by Commissioner Combs. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I think it we have in Commissioner Court, so we will be adjourned at 12:08.